So now we're going to discuss the sprite renderer. So to display this square here in the scene, we're using the sprite renderer component. So sprites are basically PNG or JPEG files, so images. Now, let me just select a sprite. Let's not use this this square here. Let's use an image here. Let me see 1 second. Okay, let's use this texture. And if you're using pixel art, make sure here in the filter mode it's point, because this here combine the pixels to make the image smoother, but it's pixel art, we want to see every pixel. So let's use the texture. So you can add an image here and this will display it. Then you have the color property, and if you have images that are already colored, this is not something you want to play with, because let's say we want to make it red. You see, it's not really, it doesn't look good. And it looks bad with every color. You should only color a sprite if it's grayscale or completely white. Otherwise, so grayscale means in shades of gray and white. Other than that, you shouldn't. I don't see a case where you should change the color. Now that's the color, but I selected the wrong texture for this because I want to demonstrate what this flip here variable is. Sorry, property. So let's select this guy here. Make sure it's the correct settings. So you have this guy here. Let me increase the scale so you'll see it better. So this just flips the image on a certain axis. So this is left, right, and this is on the y-axis. I usually don't use this one, but it may be useful in a game where you change gravity, for example. So with that, you flip it. The draw mode, simple means it's just the image from the file, but sometimes you might want to make some platforms that are tiled, for example. And for that, I'll use a texture here to demonstrate that. So we have this texture. Let me make it smaller. And tiled means this will repeat that image. Okay. So now you see it just repeats that image. Usually used for platforms. Okay, so that's the tile mode. I don't know what slice is, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not sure what slice is, but I usually use only simple-ended tiles. So that's very important. Now materials are nice because you can put shaders on them. So here, this is the default for 2D game with lighting, but you can create your own materials with shaders. I'm not an expert. That shaders are used basically for visual effects. And then here is very important, these additional settings. Now, sprites can be rendered in layers. So if I make another object here, this white square, and I put it on one ordering layer, now it's above that other square with the texture, that it's on 0. But if I say -1, now it's below and you cannot see it. So that's what that is. But these are just sub layers. You can also have whole layers. So you see this default here. You can say add sorting layer and create whole layers, and then those layers have sub layers. That's the idea. Now let's look at some code with this. this is from the transform. Let me just delete everything from here. Okay. So let's say we have the transform of an object, or let's just say a whole game object. So let's say we have an object and we want to get the sprite renderer from it. We just create a sprite renderer variable, and then we use the get component function. So sprite renderer equals to get component. So that object. So specify which object. So if I say specify the object and then say get component, that means we get the component from that specific object. But if I just say get component like that, that means this will get the component from this object that has this script. Okay. So with this you get the sprite renderer component. Now let's say we want to put a certain image in that sprite renderer by script. For that we need the sprite, a certain image basically. So let's call it some sprite. And it's very simple. You just say sprite renderer sprite equal to that sprite. So with this you display a certain image in the sprite renderer. How to flip it? How to flip that sprite? So let's say our player can move left and right, and we want to split it. To flip it towards that direction. To flip, you just say. In that case, we want on the x axis. So flip x is true or false. You decide. And you can do the same for y like that. So this is how you flip. Flip. Right. Now, sometimes we might want to know if our sprite is flipped in a direction, and for that we just say we say if, and then let's say we want the x flip. So that means if it is flipped, and if you say not here, then that means if it's not flipped. So check if it is if right is flipped, and you can use the y as well here. Now let's say we have this texture here, and it's in style mode, so it's styles, and we want to modify the width and the height. Let me show you how to do that. For that, you just say this. You say sprite renderer, the sprite renderer component that you saved in a variable, and then you say size. And unfortunately, I don't think you can modify only one like that, only one value. So the x or the y, you have to modify the whole vector too. So you have to say new vector 2 and then specify the x and the y. So let's say we want 10 width and 10 height. That's how we do it. So set the size of tiled of a sprite in tiled mode. But you can get those dimensions of the size. So these are read-only. You cannot modify them, but you can use them. So let's say we want to check if our size on the x-axis, so the width, is a certain value. So we say sprite renderer size x bigger than some value, let's say 10. So if size x is bigger than 10. Let me see. Let's say we want to know, not want to know, but we want to change. We want to change the sub layer to maybe show this sprite above or below something. So we want this here order in layer variable. So uh, say sprite renderer sorting. I think it's sorting order. Let me see. Yes, this should be. Yes. So with this, you change the layer. So that's everything about sprites, I guess. Like I said, you can add materials, and those materials can have shaders for certain visual effects. Um, yeah, that's everything you need to know about sprites. I just show this once, and then we go to our next theme.